We started last time this Mu'taqad Saghir, this junior creedal manual by Imam Ibn Khafeef. He was just at the end of the Salaf and a direct student of Imam al-Ash'ari. So I have been really waiting to translate this text, and it is an honor for me. And I told you that I had it for a while and I didn't rush to translate it. And then after I started the lesson last time, then I saw exactly what I feared. MashaAllah. So I see that I was rushing. And this text, I should just take my time here. I ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to guide me and to grant me comprehension and to grant me good expression. And I ask Allah to enable me to benefit His slaves. Ameen. So I want to start over. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. قال الشيخ الكبير أبو عبد الله محمد بن خفيف قدس الله سره. The big Sheikh Abu Abdullah Muhammad ibn Khafeef. So his name is Muhammad and his kunya is Abu Abdullah. Kunya is the name that starts with Ab or In Arabic, when you introduce someone, yani, according to original Arabic, you're going to start with this kunya. Like here. So he is Abu Abdullah. Kunya is a type of name. A kunya, your kunya is on par with your actual moniker, your actual given name. Whatever your mother named you or your father named you, if you have a kunya, your kunya is like that strong. So they start with the kunya. He is Abu Abdullah, and then they give his name, Muhammad. That's his name, his given name. And he is Ibn Khafeef, Muhammad, the son of Khafeef. So we are saying that we are reading the Aqidah of Ibn Khafeef. قدس الله سره. May Allah bless his secrets. Ameen. May Allah grant us some of it. Ameen. So what did he say? هذا معتقدي. This is my conviction. It means my conviction is a correct conviction. ومعتقد الأئمة السادة ومعتقد الأئمة السادة والعلماء الصيب. And it is the conviction, the mu'taqad, with the fathah on the qaf, what is believed. This is the conviction. This is the doctrine. It is my conviction, and it is the conviction. It is my doctrine, and it is the doctrine of the master imams and the progressive scholars who are leaders. Yani, this is the conviction of the leading progressive scholars and master imams. So I found that in Arabic, when you have something that has several adjectives, that translates backwards well. So that's what I just did. Alladhina qabli, those who were before me, those who preceded me. Wafi zamani, and those who are in my time. Min ahli sunnati wal jama'ah, from the people of the prophetic way and the majority. Ahlu sunnah, the people of the sunnah, of the prophetic way. Wal jama'ah, and the majority. The main body. Yes. The main body. At the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Muslims were called the Jama'ah. That's what's in some hadiths. Like, Man arada buhbuhat al-jannah falyalzamil jama'ah. Whoever wants the buhbuha of the garden. So I want to double check what that means. I heard something that's contrary to what I thought, so I'll double check it. Whoever wants the buhbuha of the gardens, good thing. فَلْيَلْزَمِ الْجَمَاعَةِ, then let him stick to the jama'ah. So this name, jama'ah, here in this hadith, it is applicable to the Prophet and the Sahaba. Then later, the word Ahlus Sunnah got attached. Yani, the term Jama'ah is what's in the hadiths. And it's the term Ahlus Sunnah that got attached to that. Ahlus Sunnati wal Jama'ah. He says, Alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah. Alladhi hadana subul, he who guided us the paths. So this is his introduction. He who guided us the paths means he who enabled us to do what is right. Wa anzala lana al-kutub, and he revealed to us the books. So he revealed to us the books. Who's us? وَأَنزَلَ لَنَا, he revealed to us the books. So could be said that us here is all the believers following the different prophets. He revealed to the believers the books. The believers who follow Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and other believers from other nations. We are amongst them and they are amongst them. Those who followed other prophets, they're believers like we are believers. This sentence here gives that meaning. Because in a literal sense, the books in plural were not revealed to us, the nation of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Quran was revealed to us. It's valid to say the Quran was revealed to us. You can say the Quran was revealed to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you can say the Quran was revealed to us also because it's in the Quran. وَمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْنَا, and what was revealed to us. So the Quran was revealed to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Injil was revealed to Jesus, and the Torah was revealed to Moses, and other books were revealed to other prophets. All of those have the same religion. وَأَنزَلَ لَنَا الْكُتُبِ, and he revealed to us the books. وَمَنَّ عَلَيْنَا بِالرُّسُلِ, and he was gracious to us by the messengers, meaning by sending the messengers. How was he gracious to us? What was that grace? They showed us the guidance. If the human being is left to his own devices, then Allah told us, Innal insana lafi khusr. The human being is in a state of loss. He's a loser. Illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihat, except for those who believe and do good deeds, etc. Till the end of the surah. Innal insana lafi khusr. That's a broad statement there, general statement. The human is a loser. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, except for those who believed and did good deeds, etc., till the end of the surah. Allah Ta'ala sent us messengers. He was gracious to us by sending us messengers because we are in dire need of them. We cannot do without prophets because He didn't create us like the angels. We are humans. What ayah is that? Surah Al-Asr, ayah 2 and 3. And like we said, you're welcome. If He is gracious to us by sending us the messengers, then for one thing, it means He was not obligated. When we say He was gracious, that means generous, then it means He was not obligated. As opposed to those who would say Allah is obligated to do what's best for the slaves. Allah doesn't have to do anything for anyone. Hasha Azza wa Jal. And also, this statement refutes those who deem prophethood impossible and pointless. So we are neither those nor those. We don't believe that Allah had to send the prophets. We don't believe that prophets are impossible, and we don't believe that Allah had to send them. But we do need them, though. We do believe that we are in dire need of them. We humans cannot do without prophets. وَبَيَّنَ لَنَا الْآثَارَ وَالسُّنَنَ وَبَيَّنَ لَنَا الْآثَارَ وَالسُّنَنَ. Translated literally, bayyana, He clarified, He made clear for us the athar and the sunan. What does athar mean and what does sunan mean? So athar is the plural of athar. Athar. Athar, here we said last time, this word athar, it could mean the hadiths of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's what it means here. The hadiths of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The athar, athar means tradition. The word athar in a very literal sense means trace, a remnant. Athar. Yes, Allah bayyana lana al-athara was-sunan. So the athar is the plural of athar. And athar here means the hadiths of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But the hadith scholars, like you know, they use the word athar to also refer to the reports of companions and the reports of the successors, the tabi'un. So what does this Imam rahimahullah have in this book? He has a number of things here. Amongst them is he has hadith terminology in here. Hadith terminology. This is an Aqidah book here. In this Aqidah booklet, so he has Aqidah terminology, creed. He also has hadith terminology in here, and he has more. We'll look at it when we come upon it. So the athar is the hadiths of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. And the people of hadith use the word athar for the reports of the companions and the tabi'un too. So what do you have? You have, bismillah, you have hadiths. Looking at some words here. One word you have is hadith. So the word hadith applies to what comes from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam or from a companion. You can use the word hadith for what's from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam or what's from a companion. And there's another word they use, which is athar. And this word athar, you can use it for a companion or you can use it for a tabi'i also. So according to what I just now drew for you, we're not going to call the report of a tabi'i a hadith. So he says, وَبَيَّنَ لَنَا الْآثَارَ وَالسُّنَنِ. He clarified for us the traditions, the narrated reports from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَالسُّنَنِ, and the prophetic ways. So sunan, that's plural of sunnah. Plural of sunnah. So he clarified for us the athars and the sunnahs. What does sunan mean here? Sunan also refers to the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sunan refers to the hadiths here. And so here, this word sunnah, like I told you last time, what does it mean? You can also use it in different ways. Sometimes you say sunnah and you mean hadiths. Sometimes you say sunnah and you mean the Prophet's practice in a broad way. This includes obligations. The Prophet's practice, I mean here. This includes obligations. Sometimes you say the sunnah, you mean the sharia. And that's close to what I was just saying anyway. Sharia, the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And sometimes you say sunnah and you mean voluntary good deeds, not obligatory. So the author says here, وَبَيَّنَ لَنَا الْآثَارَ وَالسُّنَنِ. He clarified for us the traditions and the prophetic ways. And I say, Wallahu a'lam, clarified here means he preserved them for us. Allah Ta'ala preserved the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam for us. Yani, that's how it's clear for us. It's accessible to us. If a person puts the effort to learn, he can learn all about the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One of us could spend his whole life learning about the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Here we are over 1400 years later in full detail. And the reports of the companions are preserved. And the reports of the tabi'un are preserved. and the hadith books are preserved, and the other books of the scholars are preserved. Yeah, that's a broad statement. There are books that have been lost. There are books of scholars that have been perverted. The author says, just one more thing here. I want to point out to you. وَبَيَّنَ لَنَا الْآثَارَ وَالسُّنَنِ. He clarified for us the athars and the sunnahs. This is about the nation of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. These hadiths of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, these prophetic ways, and if we want to include also the reports of the companions and the reports of the successors, that's special to the nation of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The previous nations didn't have our hadiths. And they did not have a hadith science. Isnad is special to the nation of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The author says, وَفَصَّلَ لَنَا الْآيَاتِ وَالسُّوَرِ. And he detailed for us the verses and the chapters. The ayat, the verses of the Quran, and the suwar, the chapters of the Quran. The Quran has ayat, verses, and it has suwar, chapters, and it has also what? Qira'at, recitations. Yani, the Quran can be recited from the beginning to the end in one way, from Al-Fatiha to An-Nas in one way, and then again in another 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 way, and there's more ways and more ways and more ways. All of those are confirmed from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the recitations of the Quran. Those are not versions of the Quran. No, it's not like how the Bible has versions. Bible has versions because it's perverted, distorted. Quran has qira'at, recitations, recitals, modes of recital. All of them are confirmed from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He recited the Quran in those numerous ways. So the Quran has verses, and it has chapters, and it has recitations. وَحَذَّرَ وَأَنذَرَ. And he warned and he cautioned. Barakallahu feek for that suggestion, caution. He warned and he cautioned. Allah, the author's still talking about Allah. It's still in his introduction. So, what did he say? Just make it flow real quick here. Praise be to Allah, the one who guided us the paths, and he revealed to us the books, and he was gracious to us by the messengers, and he clarified for us the traditions and the prophetic ways, and he detailed for us the verses and the chapters. فَحَذَّرَ وَأَنذَرَ. And therefore, there's fat there. فَحَذَّرَ وَأَنذَرَ. And so, he warned in the Quran. Allah warned. And he cautioned. Yes. From what does Allah warn? He warns us from his torture. And he threatens us. We are under threat, like I mentioned for you. Don't forget. Or else you're going to be like some kafir who doesn't fear judgment day. Hadhar, he warned. Wa'anzar, and he cautioned. Now, Allah Ta'ala in the Quran, he warned us from himself. That's in the Quran. Allah warns you from him. He warned us from him. and he warned us from his torture, and he warned us from hell. When it says he warned us from him, means he warned us from his torture. وَنَهَى وَأَمَرُ. So now as I'm reading with you, and I'm just taking my time, subhanallah, I want to look some more into some things here. The tahdhir. What's the difference between the tahdhir and the indhar? حذر يحذر تحذيرا أنذر ينذر إنذارا. When I translate them, it's like the meaning is the same. But how different are they in Arabic? The tahdhir. So usually we use the word tahdhir to be like warning you from something. Warning you from a deviant person or from some saying that the people say or some practice that the people do. Indhar, what I know of the indhar is that that's what the prophets did. The prophets did indhar, warning. The prophets were munvirun, warners. وَنَهَى وَأَمَرْ, and he naha, he forbade. Naha, yani this comes from the word nahi. This comes from the word nahi. Nahi, that's noun, nahi. Nahi is the prohibition. So he prohibited. Naha, he prohibited. God made things forbidden. Manhi. Wa amar, and he commanded. Commanded means he ordered. Yani, the nahi, the prohibition. You should know that it proves in the Quran. We're talking about Allah here. Allah, naha. Allah forbade, meaning he forbids. He prohibits. The nahi proves a sin. Nahi proves a sin. Nahi proves a sin. Prohibition. Prohibition proves a sin. Unless you have evidence to show otherwise. A prohibition proves a sin unless you have evidence to show otherwise. When Allah said to Adam, the angel conveyed to Adam, وَلَا تَقْرَبَا هَذِهِ الشَّجَرَةِ, do not approach this tree. What do you call a sentence like that? It's called nahi. Nahi. Prohibition. Don't do it. So don't do it in the Quran proves a sin. Unless there's proof to say otherwise. Wa amar, and he commanded. Yani he commands. And he commanded. What does an amr, a command, prove? Or an order? You could say command, or you might say order, or you might say directive. What does the command prove in the Quran? Proves an obligation. So, command means do it. So, do it in the Quran means you have to do it. Not that it's optional. Unless you have evidence to the contrary. So, prohibition proves a sin. Unless you have evidence to say otherwise. And a command proves an obligation. Unless you have evidence to say otherwise. Nahi, you can write it out like this. Nahy. Nahi. Nahi. Like that. Not nahi, but nahi. So, وَنَهَى وَأَمَرْ وَحَرَّمْ وَحَرَّمَ. And he harrama, he made things haram. He made things forbidden. Haram. So what is this talk here? This talk is from Usul Al-Fiqh. He has here in this Aqidah book Usul Al-Fiqh words. So he has Aqidah words in here. And he has Hadith words in here. And he has Usul Al-Fiqh words in here. And he has other words too. You already know he has Sufi words in here too. وَحَرَّضَ. And he encouraged. And he encouraged. حَرَّضَ, he encouraged. Yani hatha. That is to do the good deeds. وَحَرَّضَ, he encouraged the good deeds. The obligations, those are unavoidable. And the optional good deeds, those are avoidable, but you are encouraged not to avoid them. In fact, Allah Ta'ala made the optional good deeds easier than the obligations so that you will not leave them out. And that's why you can pray a sunnah prayer sitting down, even if you're able to stand. And that's why you can pray a sunnah prayer in the direction of your destination if you're traveling, so that you don't leave it out. And other things. That's why if you have incontinence of urine, you can do one obligation, but unlimited optional deeds. You know about that, right? You can do one obligation and unlimited optional deeds. Allah made the optional deeds easier so that we don't leave them out. And here I want to benefit you with something. So, the author here, he gave us words that point to for us the fard means obligation, because he said amara. He commanded, that means there's obligations. And he said naha. So there's nahi. Yeah. There's haram, prohibition. Okay. And there's also, no. Let me say it to you this way. We can take from what the author told us here that there's some things that we, must do. We are commanded. There's things that have been commanded. And there's prohibitions. There's commands and prohibitions. Okay. This is what the author told us. There are commands and prohibitions. Yes. What I want to benefit you with is to tell you that both of these have two cases. Because we are commanded to do obligations. And we are actually commanded to do optional deeds. the voluntary deeds. We are commanded to do the voluntary deeds. Voluntary. And we are prohibited from the sins. We have been prohibited from the sins. And we have also been prohibited from disliked things. We have been commanded to do the voluntary deeds and the obligations. We have been forbidden from the disliked things and the sins. Now, of course, I'm translating here. So, nuhina. I'm translating that as we were prohibited, we were forbidden. And umirna, we were commanded. We were ordered to do voluntary deeds and obligations and forbidden from doing disliked things and sins. Yes, this is what the scholars say. And therefore, it means that there's two types of commands. There's a command that you cannot avoid, and there's a command that you can avoid. And there's two types of prohibitions. There's a prohibition that you cannot avoid and a prohibition that you can avoid. That's what I want to show you. Otherwise, you know all these words. You know the word command, voluntary, obligation, prohibition, dislike, sin, you know all that. Why I said all of these things here? Just taking advantage of the door that the author opened for me here to benefit you with something. When he said, وَنَهَى وَأَمَرْ وَحَرَّمَ, these words from Usul Al-Fiqh, these words that are related to our deeds, these are related to the judgments of our deeds. These words up top over here, وَبَيَّنَ لَنَا الْآثَارَ وَالسُّنَنِ, these words are related to hadiths, narrations. وَفَصَّلَ لَنَا الْآيَاتِ وَالسُّوَرِ, and he detailed for us the verses in the chapters. These words here are related to the Qur'an. وَحَذَّرَ وَأَنذَرَ وَنَهَى وَأَمَرَ وَحَرَّمَ وَحَرَّضَ وَزَجَرَ. And these words are related to Usul Al-Fiqh. That's related to the judgments of the deeds and rules. Yes. So there's so much in these lines. When I reviewed last time, I said, I got to take my time here. I see that this sheikh, he packed so much into this text that I can't go fast or I'm going to skip something. Because amongst the things that can be pointed out from this paragraph here is different sciences, some of the different religious sciences themselves. So we have here the signal to the science of the creed. We have here a signal to the science of hadith, which is more than one science, hadith sciences. We have here a signal to Qur'anic sciences, more than one Qur'anic science. We have here a signal to the Usul Al-Fiqh. وحرض, so فحذر وأنذر ونهى وأمر وحرم وحرض وزجر. So he cautioned and he warned and he forbade and he commanded and he prohibited and he encouraged, God that is. And wazajar, And he discouraged and scolded. What does it say here for number 4? A naha. Yeah, in simple terms. وَجَعَلَهَا عِظَةً لِمَنِ اتَّعَظَ. And he made those verses and chapters of the Quran a preaching, a lecture, a lesson for whoever will be preached to, for whoever will be lectured, or whoever will take a lesson. وَعِبْرَةً لِمَنِ اعْتَبَرَ. And he made them, those verses and chapters of the Quran, regard for whoever will regard. He made them a consideration for whoever will consider. فَلِلَّهِ الْحَمْدُ أَوَّلًا وَآخِرًا. And so, due to God is the praise, at the beginning and at the end, from the start and at the finish. وَظَاهِرًا وَبَاطِنًا. And outwardly and inwardly. Outwardly, yani, displayed and showed. Like to verbally say, Alhamdulillah, and to make that an observable action. And also to praise Allah inwardly and to thank Him inwardly. فَلِلَّهِ الْحَمْدُ أَوَّلًا وَآخِرًا وَظَاهِرًا وَبَاطِنًا. Yes, although we learned that hamd is verbal by definition. We learned that hamd is verbal by definition. So verbal means going to be outward, zahir. Hamd's going to be, if it's verbal, zahir, outward. وَالصَّلَاةُ عَلَى خَيْرِ خَلْقِهِ مُحَمَّدٍ الْمُصْطَفَى. And may the mercies with special honor, the salat, the mercies with special honor be upon the best of his creations, Muhammad, Al-Mustafa, the selected one, wa alihi tayyibin, and his good, God-fearing followers. That's if we explain al to mean the God-fearing followers of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it's possible to explain his al as his family. Then it would mean, and his good family. Al-akhyar al-abrar, the choicest, the prime, the good ones. وَصَحْبِهِ الصَّادِقِينَ الْأَخْبَارِ. And upon his companions, those who are truthful in their hadith narration. That's also their talk of the hadith scholars. The companions all being truthful in their hadith narration. That's hadith terminology there. All of the companions being truthful in their hadith narration does not mean all of the companions are pious. And it does not mean all of the companions are knowledgeable also. Yeah, and when I say like that, it means it's possible that there's someone who was a companion who was not a scholar. Don't you know many of his companions, we don't even know their names. Because anyone who met the his salatu wassalam as a believer and died as a believer, he'd be a companion. Those people mentioned in the hadiths. A man, a woman, a person, someone. Those are companions of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. Okay. So we'll stop there. Inshallah is the top of the hour. And the next thing he says will be great for starting the next lesson. Do you have any questions?
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
You tell me anyone who met the companions, anyone who met the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're talking about the Muslims, right?
Yeah, he met the Prophet believing in him, so he's a Muslim.
Okay.
You're welcome. Yani, either he was already a believer and then he met the Prophet as a believer, or he was a kafir and before leaving the Prophet, he was a believer. And then he died as a believer, then he's a companion. Alayhi salatu wassalam. Question, what is Usul al-Fiqh in English? Usul al-Fiqh, you might say principles of fiqh. Fiqh being jurisprudence. Or you might say guidelines. Guidelines of fiqh. Yani, I'm just giving you a few things here just to help your comprehension. It's like a set of rules. So fundamentals, usul means fundamentals. But I didn't start there because I'm afraid it doesn't make you understand as well, yani, what I want you to understand. But when you put it this way, it's clear. Fundamentals meaning guidelines and principles of fiqh. Question, can I please go over quickly one more time? Yes, go over what? Oh, the metin, just the metin without adding things. Yeah. So he says, this is my conviction or my doctrine and the doctrine of the leading progressive scholars and master imams, those before me and during my time, yani his contemporaries, from the people of the prophetic way and the majority. Praise be to Allah, He who guided us the paths and revealed to us the books and was gracious to us by the messengers and clarified for us the traditions and prophetic ways and detailed for us the verses and the chapters. And thus he cautioned and warned and forbade and commanded and prohibited and encouraged and discouraged. And he made them here means the verses of the Quran and the chapters of the Quran, and he made them a preaching for anyone who will be preached to, and a consideration for anyone who will give regard. And so, to God is the praise, from the start and at the end, and openly and inwardly. And may the special mercies with honor be upon the best of his creations, Muhammad Al-Mustafa, the selected one. So if you say it as one of his names, it's going to be Al-Mustafa. That's a name. If you want to translate it like it's an adjective, then it would mean the selected one. And his good God-fearing followers, or his good family, his prime and good, pure God-fearing followers, or his prime and good, pure family, and his companions who are, and upon. Let me back up for you real quick. And may these special mercies and honor be upon the best of his creations, Muhammad, the selected one, and his his God-fearing followers, or his family. وَصَحْبِهِ, and his companions. الصَّادِقِينَ الْأَخْبَارِ, those who are truthful in their hadith narration. So that's as far as we got today. Can Ibn be a kunya for a person? In the books of Nahu, they say the kunya is the name that starts with Ab or Ab or As for the name that starts with Ibn or Bint, let me review. Ameen wa fikum. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.